But us right here on Nigeria Info 95.1 for those who are streaming in live on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, yes, we're glad you're doing that right now. If you're not, please do at Nigeria Info Abuja. Yes, you find it. At Nigeria Info Abuja, you find us on YouTube. I can take your live comments as we go through the situation on ground and all the other things that as it comes up day by day. You already know nothing breaks the news like the news. There's always something to break down there. Go on right now, stream. Watch, make your comments about various issues as we come up with them. You already know the build up to the elections. What is now, what just about described as facts is taking on what you call as post-truth. And what is post-truth is almost being mixed up with facts. And there's a need to always understand this. But there's something that remains incorruptible thus far, the data about what is on ground. Now, data can be interpreted in many ways, but it still doesn't take away the fact that it's on ground. What do we look at? What do we see when we see a situation such as the Nigerian election? What does the data say about this election? What has been said so far? What does it insinuate? What can we indicate that it will lead to? I brought in a good friend of mine, a guest this very morning. Damilola Ojetunde is a data analyst with Dataphyte here in Nigeria. Dataphyte makes good attempts to put together data that you can use to advocate, be informed, and of course, essentially interact and help you with your decisions. So he's here with me this very morning. Good morning, Dami.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Good to have you here. So let me just ask this holistic question to start with. What is the data around the 2023 elections that people should be looking out for? Yes, there's a lot of data, but there are some that stand out exceptional, either because of a candidate or because of what INEC has done or because the election, how it's going to go on. You know, there's something out there that gives an indication that, well, this election can be, could be, we want it to be, would need to be. I don't know which works for you, but something out there says we should look at the election a little bit differently. What are some of those things, the data that can help us be informed on that?
Oh, yeah. So thank you for having me once again. Interestingly, the 2023 election is going to be a different one entirely from what we've seen in the past election cycles. So data obtained from INEC, and I mean, this is something so different, I mean, from what we've had in past. We have a voting population of the youth that comprises of about 76.56% of the entire registered voters. And it means that the youth are ready to take over. I mean, you have about 30-something million, 31 plus million between the age of 18 and 34 being registered as voters. And it tells you that, okay, it's not going to be business as usual any longer. It's going to be, okay, the youth are just ready to take over. And from what INEC has been doing over time, and, you know, in terms of, you know, the registration, the preparation for election, and it tells us that, okay, this election is going to be different. Yes, the powers that may be, the powers that controls things in the country might still want to do their thing, but I think the youth are just ready to take over.
Youths are ready to take over. My understanding, according to much of what the INEC chairman has provided, it talks about over 7 million Nigerian youths registered for the first time from different places. It talks about the fact that this is an election that one will look at the number of young people, that it may insinuate that the election could be swayed by young Nigerians when they decide to vote. And we'll be looking at the different campaigns, the controversies, the contradictions and moments as provided. And I was just imagining myself, some of the candidates have provided promises that are not based on facts, that are not based on data, that do not necessarily insinuate some measure of reality. Do you think data plays a role before you make a promise? Because oftentimes you hear, I'm going to take 40% Nigeria. In fact, 4 years will be 4 years. Unemployment will go down to zero. And by the way, there's no country with unemployment that has an unemployment rate of zero. At the end of the day, the World Bank and the likes of them, global rankings of everything indicates that no country is in an ideal situation. Democracy is quite fluid. But here we are. You wonder if some of these candidates study the data around the country, around young people, around education, around so many issues, around even prison, voting, and the likes of that, before they make decisions. Do they or they don't?
So, I mean, from what we have analyzed from the different manifestos that we've seen from the major political parties, it's obvious that these political actors don't really rely on data. Yes, what they just rely on are existing data, but they don't leverage on it for proper projection and forecasting. So take, for instance, one of the major political parties said he's going to reduce unemployment to a single digit by 2025. I mean, the current unemployment rate is 33%. And he said he's going to do this by creating 3 million jobs every year. So if you calculate it, and we are currently in 2023, that means 2 years from now. So if you take 3 million jobs in 2 years, that's 6 million. And you want to reduce the unemployment rate to a 1 digit.
We have about 30 million Nigerians out there about
unemployed. So it
unemployed.
shows that these guys don't really leverage on data for proper projection. Yes, I mean, yeah, it's an electioneering period, so they really just want to come and tell people what will suit their hearing. But really, data takes a good place. However, the political gladiators, the political actors don't leverage on data for proper projection. I mean, I can go on and go on and go on. So take, for instance, in terms of the economy, one of the political parties said he's going to increase the GDP per capita to 5,000 by 2030. And currently, our GDP per capita is $2,085. That means on each person. How do you intend to do this in 7 years? We don't know.
Oh, that statement, if I'm not mistaken, was credited to Atiku Abubakar, the PDP presidential candidate. But also, on the other hand, we have Peter Obi, who had also talked about his own set of data of what he was going to do on the economy. He said he's looking at expanding Nigeria's export base, moving Nigeria from a consumption to production. That seems to be the most popular phrase we hear around. How do you do that?
So what we, from our analysis of the manifestos, it's obvious that the major political parties, they have good ideas, but the way and manner to implement these things are things that we don't know. Okay, so take, for instance, the major and the very popular saying of the Labour Party candidate is going to move the Nigerian economy from consumption-based to production. How? Can you please tell us how? Are you going to be attracting more investors? We don't know. Are you going to make the environment more conducive for investors to thrive? We don't know. But you just said you're going to increase. You're going to, just take us from from consumption to production. So most of these ideas are lofty ideas. They are good ideas. However, the way and manner to do this, the way and manner they're going to go at it, is what we don't know. And it centers around data. Yes, because it's obvious. Okay, if you know what data is talking about in different, economy, the security, and these things are interwoven. An economy cannot thrive in a volatile environment. It's not possible. So what are you going to do for the insecurity state in Nigeria so that the economy can thrive? We don't know.
We don't know. Now, let's even talk about even some of the data produced by the government themselves, and the ones that help us, to navigate all this. For example, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics every month makes an attempt to provide quite a reflective and refractive data that help us to make decisions. And in a good measure, a lot of Nigerians are accepting of those data on, for example, poverty rate across peculiar states and the likes of that. And there's also the data that comes in from the global scene to say, well, poverty in Nigeria is leaning towards an extreme stage. And we find people in urban centers. It's one thing to be poor far away in the rural areas. It's another thing to be poor in the urban centers where people think, oh, you have it all together and the likes of that. My question is on the data around poverty, for example. As we have it in Nigeria, it pretty much tells us that half the population is poor. And absolutely. It's also very, very confusing to see how accepting of being poor is, because questions are come up to say, what parameters do you use to consider someone to be poor over and over again? What would you say about some of the numbers and the data collation that indicates poverty, for example?
All right. So the last multi-dimensional poverty index, as released by the National Bureau of Statistics late last year, says 133 million Nigerians are multi-dimensionally poor, and not just poor, multi-dimensionally poor. So when they say multi-dimensional poverty, it means there are different things, there are different indicators that were put together to say, oh, you or about 133 million Nigerians are multi-dimensionally poor. And these are the indicators: health, basic health, I'm not just saying basic health, security, education, unemployment. There are five. I really can't. Yeah, there are five in numbers. So now let us take these things one after the other. Security. It's obvious that security in Nigeria is something else. I mean, just this year only, we've gotten about 80 persons kidnapped as of the second week of January. That's 2 weeks into the new year. About 80 persons have been kidnapped, mostly from the southern part of the country. And you can tell if 80% can be kidnapped in 2 years. I mean, in 2 weeks. You can tell what's going to happen in 52 weeks.
Well, let's not project negatively. Maybe things will be different.
This is not about if the trend continues like this.
Okay, if the trend
continues like this. Now, let's come to basic health. How many Nigerians are insured? How many Nigerians? Yes, the government comes, talk about universal health coverage, basic insurance for Nigerians, this and that. But how many Nigerians can conveniently go to the hospital and say, oh, I'm down with this illness, treat me? No, most people, they engage in out of pocket. And these are people who do not even have enough to feed themselves. Then they still go out of pocket to get themselves well. Then in terms of education, Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children in Nigeria, coupled with different kind of strikes in our tertiary institutions.
Oh, yes, that's a major one. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll engage more about the data and also bringing people who are writing in and making their comments on various platforms to join us. We'll take that up after the break. I see Chris Joseph writing. He says, Oga Femi, I cite you. I'm watching live from Pape Extension. Okay, we'll read some of your comments there and then. Stay with us right here, Nigeria Info. We'll be back after the break to listen more and also to get your views in this very morning. This is Morning Crossfire with Femi Live.
Nothing breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I do it every morning on Morning Crossfire from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Nigeria Info 95.1, and I'm Femi D. Amede. Join the biggest conversation around the national politics every day in a way that is trustworthy, full of passion, and yes, covers the biggest politics and the stories that matter to you. See, you have all the reasons to find out what's going on in Nigeria and be engaged differently. Let's talk. That's the way to go, even this morning.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Is Nigeria.
Sadasilom, found
This is Nigeria.
X Group International.
This is Nigeria.
Date, Saturday,
This is Nigeria. This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
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 This is Nigeria. Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is 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 Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Nothing breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I do it every morning on Morning Crossfire from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Nigeria Info 95.1, and I'm Femi D. Amede. Join the biggest conversation around the national politics every day in a way that is trustworthy, full of passion, and yes, covers the biggest politics and the stories that matter to you. See, you have all the reasons to find out what's going on in Nigeria and be engaged differently. Let's talk. That's the way to go, even this morning.
This is Nigeria Info.
69 House of Reps positions. The 1,001 candidates are going for the 109 senatorial seats. So it is an intense election in every right of it. Things are a little bit different, maybe not as expected. But with all this, these are times where Nigerians and the electorates possibly are needed more than any other time. And it tells you what will be said that would not be done, or what can be said that should be done but would never be considered. Ojetunde is with Dataphyte. He's a data analyst and he's here with me this very morning as we wade through some of the positions of various candidates, especially the presidential ones across the country, to understand how we would proceed on going way forward. Now, let's rally back around the issue of candidates now, right? And what they're saying, and what they are sure of with regards to the promises. And one looks at the bridge to deliver some of the things they're saying. It looks like they need to build bridges even outside their tenure in order to get it done. But, however, they still say the things they say. What are the contrasts between some of their commitments, if I would say?
Well, again, like I would say, it's electioneering period, and it's just politicians coming to convince the electorate, and what they do is roll out different promises and say, oh, this is what they want to do, this is what they want to do. And I'll just go into some of the issues here. I mean, the major ones that we highlighted from the manifestos of the Labour Party and PDP. And now on security, the presidential candidate of the PDP, that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, on security said he's going to increase the number of security personnel. And the same thing with the presidential candidate of Labour Party, that Peter Obi. Then again, Atiku said he's going to restructure the security architecture. I mean, it's long overdue. We know that it's long overdue. The same thing Labour Party candidate also said. He's going to, restructure the architecture, and there's going to be reforms. There's going to be reforms in the security, architecture of the country. Then on economy, like I said earlier, the Elijah Abubakar said he's going to increase the GDP per capita from $2,085 to $5,000. Though he said he's going to do this in 3 years. In 7 years from now. That's by 2030. But the major thing of the Labour Party candidates is moving the country from consumption-based to production-based. And again, but for the PDP candidates, the mission, the way he wants to achieve the increase in GDP per capita is to position the manufacturing sector to contribute to about 30% to the Nigerian economy.
So at least these similarities and contrasts set things in motion along the lines. I know we can't take the entire manifesto because it's a lot, but I also want people to join in. You can join in via the YouTube channel. I'm looking at your comments right now. Ife Gold says, wow, that's my friend Damilola. I'm sure somebody you know is on YouTube. Aliu Gadika says, I like your guest analysis. Chris Joseph says, Oga Femi, I cite you. I'm watching live from the city of Pape Extension. I also do have messages. Stanley Uchena from Canada, Ontario, also writes in this very morning. He also makes his own comments with regards to how things are going. Also, you have Adeni John Collins watching from Portsmouth in UK. Also, Francis Nnamdi watching from Enugu State, Amanga Gunze, I hope I pronounced that right. Something tells me that didn't come out right. From Enugu State as well, making his own comments known as well. No wahala. All right, so let's take some calls from you. 0700951. Remember, it's open mic as well, so you can squeeze in your thoughts on any subject of interest in the next few minutes. 07009510000. Okay, that's 07009510000. And of course, the alternative line is 08095974869.
Good morning, Dr. Femi.
Good morning to you.
This is Comrade Sam from Essex here.
All right, good to have you on. Let's talk.
Yeah, on the new Naira note, please, we are begging both federal government and CBN. There is no new Naira note. We went to collect 100,000 yesterday. They gave us 1,000, and we rejected. They said, no, if we don't want, we go. And there's no law that will help us to recover these things. Let them please save us from this embarrassment. Secondly, I took to sold so many things according to Lai Mohammed. It's not only that concession of Ajokuta. He sold so many things. That's why Obasanjo fully called him only. Thank you for the time.
All right. Well, true. It is said the former president had strong comments about his former vice. Okay. Taking on more calls. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Femi.
You're welcome to the show. What's your name?
This is Aruna, top of Considerers.
All right, then. Let's talk.
And the KC and working for Walada, my brother from Mali from the justice. I spoke with Mr. Atiku Abubakar. They will increase our GDP because it's going to do. If you say you do, you do. And it's perfect. When I was with the House of Obasanjo, we see the improvement. They move economically from the poor to the poor to higher. That's why majority of Nigerians are seeking particular Okowa to come back and move Nigeria from the East Mess to the State land.
Okay.
And I trust them that God bless either to come and Okowa to move Nigeria from the poor economic to the with the top economy. Thank you, my brother.
All right. Thank you as well for your time. I have messages and, of course, calls on WhatsApp also coming through. Okay, so here's somebody who said he had the dream. T-Max is saying, I had the dream that we resorted back to the use of old Naira notes after the election. Likely reason much was not printed. That's T-Max's dream there. Who knows what your dream is? Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. What Class, Dr. Femi D, but the father of Obakali calling PW Kuba, the unapologetic Jagabanista, permit me to start by shaking the table this morning. Why be saying only Jagaban jingle they play for our station? Oh yeah, Abubakar Gwagwalada tell Atiku to bring money. Oh yeah, Salasi tell Peter Obi to bring money. We want our darling station to be silent to the bank. I be no be so.
I'm just laughing at your comment. I'm not going to enter this query.
Mr. Femi D, people are busy shouting about bullion one. I want Almighty Allah to bless me to the extent I'll be calling my bank manager to bring money in bullion one to my house. I do the same prayer for you too. I don't know if anybody has complained that Tinubu stole his money and is in that bullion one. That bullion one issue has been buried long time ago. Mr. President said the elite in this country are selfish. Well, I may want to agree with him and I may want to disagree with him. Selfishness can come in different format. When you appoint people of your region and religion, give them about 95% of them into the security cycle in one country, I don't know whether to call that selfish or otherwise, because I know one made a call arrest me for house. But I don't think that is opposite of selfishness. Thank you. Make a they go. Carry Mawala they go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All by yourself. Just by yourself. Well, that's what I'll say. Taking on the next call. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Good morning. This is Monday Shahin.
Monday, welcome. Let's talk.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say something because your guest there was saying something that I am not okay with. He said he did analysis of the manifestos of all candidates, and they didn't actually come out to say exactly how they are going to. He said Peter Obi, okay, let me talk about the Peter Obi to be precise. He said Peter Obi did not actually say how he's going to make the make Nigerian more productive than consumption. Peter Obi has said he's going to tackle security, and security issues are not issues that people come on air to say how they are going to do it. Otherwise, of course, the criminals will overrun you. So he has said he's going to make the Nigerian environment more conducive by tackling security. Again, he has also said he's going to increase the electricity. He has been talking on how to build more megawatts, what do they call them? So I think if we are talking of productive environment, that is what makes it more conducive.
Okay, thank you so much.
When we want to analyze, we should make good analysis. We should be very factual when we are talking.
All right, thank you so much. You want to respond to that, but before you do, I also have Nikki saying, good morning, FMD and guests. I don't think the position being narrated by the guests about the political gladiators is actually true. A case in point is Peter Obi. He has clearly and repeatedly explained that he will move us from consumption to production by cutting down on corruption and governance costs. It posits that if the leader, is not involved in corrupt practices, doesn't have a bloated cabinet, the reduction is already almost 50%. That's just a part of his message. Let me allow you to respond to that in about minutes.
Yes, so like I said we examine the manifesto. So if you look into the manifesto itself, it's obvious. I mean, it was stated clearly that he's moving the economy from consumption-based to production. You know, yes, I have had the presidential candidate of the Labour Party say, yes, it's going to reduce cost of governance, but these things are mostly said at, gatherings and rallies and, social events like that, or maybe town halls. But from the manifesto itself, the documents, the blueprints, which we analyzed, yes, these things are, he said it, he is, moving it from consumption to production.
But it's not documented, you say. It means it's not in the manifesto document.
It's in the document that is moving it from consumption to production. But how you want to go about this thing, is not really stated in the manifesto. Most of these things, we've had him say he's going to reduce cost of governance, he's going to, reduce the debt portfolio of the country, he's going to, do a lot of things like, yes, the debt to GDP, the debt to revenue ratio is going to improve on it. Yes, but these things are said in campaigns and rallies. And like I said earlier, politicians will come to tell us, what they want us to hear in rallies.
Okay. Dina Ade says, I salute your guest for his holistic analysis of the various political parties and manifesto. Banky says, yes, so the obedience and the articulated should bring their presidential advance on board as soon as possible. Okay, interesting time as we would have there. I've got to say thank you to you now, Dami Ojetunde. Ojetunde, I beg to say, before Daddy comes for me. Ojetunde is a data analyst with Dataphyte. Go on and find out more about them, okay? All right, thank you so much for your time this morning. We've got to press into other issues as well. Stay with us right here on Nigeria Info. There's more to come right here. This is Morning Crossfire.